The Seattle Seahawks are the toast of the town. Not just Seattle, but honestly, the entire NFC, the entire NFC West. Shoot, they might even be the number one team in the NFL. Some experts are saying that. And they just continue to get good news story after good news story after good news story. Am I going to be hanging out and bragging in this video about Sam Darnold? You're darn right I'm going to be in here bragging about Sam Darnold and what PFF had to say when it came to their midseason awards. Is Jaxon Smith-Njigba going to set a historic record in the NFL that we have never seen before? Well, I'll let you know here in just a moment. But you know what? Basically, my entire life, I have been a Seattle Seahawk fan. I can't remember a time that I didn't love your Seattle Seahawks. You can see me right there with my Seahawks helmet on in this picture. I want you to go down below and comment and let me know what year you started being a Seattle Seahawk fan. For me, born in 1997, that's how long I've been a fan. If you've been a Seahawk fan before that, after that, let me know in the comments down below. So the first great news story that I want to get into actually doesn't concern Sam Darnold or Jaxon Smith-Njigba, but it concerns the newest Seattle Seahawk. And that, of course, is your new wide receiver, Rashid Shaheed. And there was a lot of conversation when the Seahawks made the trade for Shaheed. Would he stay in Seattle for an extended period of time? And at his very first press conference with the team, Shaheed gave us some pretty good news. He said, and I quote, "I'm here to stay, man. We can figure something out after the season ends." That is great news, because why would you give up 2 draft picks for a receiver if you do not plan to keep him in the program long term? Rasheed also had to say this about what excites him with the team. "I feel like there's a lot of wide open opportunities in the offense. I would get into a lot of play action and stuff like that so I could stretch the field vertically. I feel like I could bring that into this offense. Any type of explosiveness, I am all here for it." Obviously, we had Shaheed out at his first practice this week. Man, does he look beautiful in that navy blue. Number 22, still think it's a little bit weird from the Weber State grad that that's the number you chose to use, but it was great to see him out there. And I think the most important thing about Rashid Shaheed saying that he wants to stay in Seattle is it makes giving up the picks worth it. He is going to be a feast or famine type of player for you. He is your big play threat. He is your deep play threat. But I think that his addition to this team will make life easier for Sam Darnold. It'll make life easier for Jaxon Smith-Njigba. It'll make things easier for everyone in this offense. It's great news because you're going to keep a player that you gave up a lot of capital for. At this point right now, man, I just feel like it was a home run trade. I think I was saying high B, low B plus. I might be saying A minus now. I'm hyped for Rashid Shaheed to join your Seattle Seahawks. If you're hyped just like me, go down below into the comment section and spam Shaheed, because we both have a need for speed in Rashid Shaheed. All right, now we're going to start bragging a little bit. Is it good news that your Seattle Seahawks have multiple players on the PFF mid-season award list? Of course. But I don't think that it should be breaking news for you that Sam Darnold and Jaxon Smith-Njigba are having fantastic years right now in Seattle. PFF did have Sam Darnold as the MVP of the midseason awards. Jaxon Smith-Njigba was the Offensive Player of the Year, according to PFF, for the midseason awards. And frankly, I think that both of those are interchangeable for your Seattle Seahawks. I think that if JSN was viewed as the MVP by some, Sam Darnold would be the Offensive Player of the Year, and vice versa. Now, I'm going to get into why both of these players earn the awards that they did from PFF and how they can continue to improve upon their already stellar seasons. But before I get into that, I need to tell you about my good friends over at Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. I have a little 3-pick power play for this weekend's action. Tua, less on his passing yards. JSN, more on his receiving yards. Sam Darnold, more on his pass TDs. I love those decisions. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So, we've obviously dove into Sam Darnold and JSN being the big winners of the PFF midseason awards. And I want to dive into specifically what PFF had to say on Darnold. So, the article is quoted as saying Darnold's 92.6 PFF passing grade and 9.1% big-time throw rate are the top marks among quarterbacks. No one is better than him, while his 2% turnover-worthy play rate ranks 7th. There is still a long way to go in the season, and there are multiple quarterbacks who are very much in the mix at this point. The one that they actually had underneath Darnold, that was Matthew Stafford over in LA. But Darnold is the best of the bunch at the halfway point. Remember when Seattle brought Sam Darnold in? It was, his year in Minnesota was fool's gold. He was good at the beginning, but the minute that it got real, the minute that the tough road came into play, Darnold started to struggle. And that the expectation was he would struggle once he got to Seattle. And that was just a lie, because he continues, and I mean he continues, to go out and be impressive for your Seahawks. The fact that he's over 70% completion, again, the fact that he was basically 100% completion for his first 16 passes against the Commanders is massive. He continues to find open players and get touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I mean, shoot, on the year right now, Torrey Horton has as many touchdowns thrown to him by Sam Darnold as Sam Darnold has thrown the football to other teams. He is continuing to let the haters know just how good he is. There was always talk when he came out of USC of what the potential was for Sam Darnold, and he's finally living up to it in his career. And I think, here's the best news, that this isn't a fluke. He's going to continue to play this way for your Seattle Seahawks. Now I want to dive into Jaxon Smith-Njigba, because as impressive as Sam Darnold has been, I would make the argument that JSN has been the most impressive player in the NFL. The only reason he doesn't get listed as an MVP and he is an Offensive Player of the Year is because of the position he plays. Here's what PFF had to say on JSN. Smith-Njigba is on track to set a record for most productive receiving season since PFF began collecting data in 2006. He's averaging 4.41 yards per route run. That's not per catch, by the way. So whenever he's out on the field and it's a pass play and he runs a route, he is averaging basically 4.5 yards per route. Insane. Absolutely insane. It's basically a full yard more than Puka Nacua, who is in second place right now among wide receivers, and it's almost 2 yards more than any other player at any position. Look, I said this is a bold take. The more that I did research on this video, the more that I realized it's not. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be the first wide receiver to get 2,000 yards receiving in a single NFL season, barring injury. He's on pace to be right at that mark. And frankly, I think if you get into the final 3 to 4 games and JSN is anywhere close to that number, Seattle is going to continue to feed him. It's apples to oranges, but I continue to look at Russell Westbrook's NBA year where he was trying to average a triple-double. And the big stat that he always kept struggling with was his rebounds. So for the final month when he was really close to getting that mark, what did the Oklahoma City Thunder do? They let him get a ton of rebounds. The Seahawks will do the same thing with JSN and continue to feed him they want him to get to that 2,000-yard mark. I think if I had to vote, I would say that Jaxon Smith-Njigba has been the most impressive player. And it's hard. It's basically like picking your favorite kid right now. It's either JSN or Sam Darnold. I'm saying JSN down below. Who do you think's been more impressive? Sam Darnold, JSN. If it's Sam Darnold, SD down below. If it's JSN, JSN down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss any daily Seattle Seahawks content.